Assalamu alaikum everybody and a very warm welcome to the episode 2 in the Arabic with Sam podcast. I hope you guys are all very well. I hope you're enjoying whatever you're up to right now, if you're in the gym or if you're doing the washing up or if you're going for a run or if you're on your commute to work or whatever you're doing. I hope you're having a very, very nice time. So firstly I'm just going to start by saying I'm really excited right now because as a lot of you know, the Arabic with Sam website has had this really annoying little button on the front of it saying under construction, and that it's not live and you can't see anything. So right now, just as we speak, right now I'm just going to delete that page and I'm going to reveal ArabicWithSam.com is actually live again. ArabicWithSam.com is live. There's going to be a whole, there is, I'm looking at it right now, load of information about the podcast, load of information about the Arabic in 60 Steps program, which is launching very soon. I mean, the deadline for me to start it is October the 1st, but we'll probably start a little bit earlier than that, inshallah. Man, I'm really pumped about that course. I'm putting tons of effort into it right now. Right, so I'm just gonna make this page the home page, and it's live. And the website is live, www.arabicwithsam.com. So go and check it out, inshallah. Go and check out the website. And without further ado, with that said, we're going to come over to the actual topic of the podcast. Saying to be in Arabic as promise. Saying to be. And then this kind of will be followed by next week's episode, which is about building sentences. And the two lessons are a really good pair, actually. Like, I didn't actually plan that. I just thought, what would be two good, really useful episodes for the students? And it worked out quite nicely that those two sort of follow on from each other really, really nicely, and they'll go really well as a pair. So if you're listening to this one, make sure you come back next week, because next week will kind of really finish off that topic. So saying to be in Arabic. So, really in Arabic, there are two main concepts to be covered when we're talking about saying to be in Arabic. And obviously saying to be is the foundation of so many sentences, is so much stuff that you need to know as a beginner. If you're ever saying anything about your identity, who you are, or what you are, or what kind of a person you are, what things you like. Saying to be is essential in any language. It's probably one of the first things that we learn in almost any language. And like most other languages you would have ever studied, if you studied other languages before, in Arabic the concept of saying to be or not to be something has its own little irregularities. I know that Spanish and French have their own little irregulars. I know in Spanish there's two different ways to say to be. There's soy and the verb estar, or ser and estar are the two verbs. And they're different. So likewise, in Arabic there are not two main verbs, but two main sort of strategies of saying to be. One of them is about the verb to be being implied, and the other one is about actually using the verb to be. Because you might have heard that in Arabic there's not actually a good verb meaning to be. I don't agree with that, but I know where saying that to students comes from. So we'll start off by talking about the implied way of talking about to be, because sometimes you can create sentences meaning things like I am a teacher, or you are a student, or this is a podcast. You can create sentences like that in Arabic without using the verb to be. There's absolutely no need whatsoever to use the verb to be, and in fact there isn't really a verb that you can squeeze in to that meaning. The verb to be can be implied. And really what we're talking about here is something in Arabic called a nominal sentence. Those are all examples of nominal sentences that I've just given you. I am a teacher, you are a student, he is a waiter, this is a podcast. In Arabic, all of those sort of declarative sentences where I'm declaring something in the present tense, all of those are what we call nominative sentences, or I call them in my program noun sentences. And in Arabic the term is jumla ismiyya, which literally translates to a noun sentence or a name sentence. So these kinds of sentences, the only time when the verb to be can be implied is in the present tense. And these kinds of sentences, they always begin with a noun. They always begin with, hence why they're called noun sentences. So in all those examples I just gave you, I was saying I, we use a noun or a pronoun rather. I am something, or you are something, or the man is something. And the way that these are built is, you'll notice in all of those I'm kind of using two words. I've got a subject, I've got a thing that I'm talking about, which in Arabic is called sort of the starting thing. We call that the mubtada in Arabic, and then the thing that we learn about it, which we call the khabar. So these kinds of sentences, whenever we imply the meaning to be something, you know, we're always using these two things. We're using a mubtada and a khabar. So for example, in that sentence I gave you, I am a teacher. The me saying I is the mubtada, is the pronoun that I'm starting with, I. Am a teacher is just implied with the word teacher. You know, and that's the khabar, that's the news that you're learning about the I, that's the thing you're learning about me. So in Arabic, like a literal translation of that is I, a teacher, ana mudarrisun, or ana ustadun. You know, that's how we build it in Arabic. And another example, you know, if I'm saying you are a student, in Arabic, literally I'm saying you, a student. And in that, it's kind of just implied you are a student. So anta talibun. Anta talibun. You are a student. So yeah, in these kind of these things that you are kind of stating, these statements in the present tense, you can create them without actually using any verbs. You know, in English and in most languages, I think it's actually impossible to create any sentence without verbs. But in Arabic, you can. You know, in Arabic, you can, and this is how it's done. So rather than, you know, the examples I've given you are I am something, you are something, which is using pronouns. You know, I is a pronoun and you is a pronoun as well. But if we're going to use a noun, if we start with, for example, ar-rajulu, you know, that means the man. Ar-rajulu, the man. That's the mubtada. That's the noun. That's the thing that we're starting with. If I say ar-rajulu tawilun, is tall, literally that translates to a man at all. The man at all. But it's implied that you mean a tall. That it's implied that you mean the man is tall. Ar-rajulu tawilun. And you know, that's kind of how we imply that meaning. You know, that's how we imply the meaning to be. And you know, so that's kind of a very brief you know, explanation of how we use the verb to be in the present tense when we're declaring things. But that kind of brings us on quite nicely onto a more explicit you know, a more explicit way of talking about to be or not to be, and this is literally using a verb which is so common. I mean, this verb alone is used 1,300 and something times in the Quran, and it's the verb kana. You know, the verb kana, you know, the verb kana will probably have a whole podcast just dedicated to it alone. I mean, in my Arabic in 60 Steps program, I mean, I think it's lesson 10 is dedicated to kana, and then other verbs that kind of behave like kana. It's referred to as Kana and her sisters. You know, that kind of lesson is. So the verb kana means to be. So okay, so if we're not using it for things like I am a teacher and you are a student, what are we using it for? Is the question that we'll probably ask at this point. So kana is inherently the verb kana is actually used for the past tense. You know, like you can kind of stick kana on the beginning of any sentence really and make it past tense. And Kana and her sisters all have this funny little rule where they make the khabar of the sentence. Do you remember when the khabar means the news? Do you remember when I was talking about when we say ar-rajulu tawilun? The tawilun is the khabar. The adjective that we use to describe him is the news. It's the thing we learn about the man. When kana is used in a sentence, the khabar becomes mansoob or has fathas on it. So an example. So what would happen is, when we have the sentence ar-rajulu tawilun, the man is tall, if we want to make that past tense, then now we need to actually use the verb to be. You know, we're not talking about the present tense anymore. We actually need to use the verb kana. So if we put kana at the beginning, kana ar-rajulu, you know how as I said, the khabar takes fathas now. It's not going to be tawilun like it was in the normal noun sentence. It's going to become tawilan. So kana ar-rajulu tawilan. Now, so ar-rajulu tawilun is just the man is tall, but the man was tall. It's kana ar-rajulu tawilan. You know, so yeah, so the verb kana itself has that funny little rule, right? It has this little rule that the thing that you're actually being, and we're using the verb kana to be, the thing which you are being or anyone is being will take a fatha or fathas, respectively, if it's definite or indefinite. Nice. So, but perhaps it'd be a good idea to run through some more examples of that, just to make it really nice and clear. So, if I say something like القهوة لذيذة. That means the coffee is delicious. القهوة لذيذة. Yeah, the coffee is delicious. But if we want to say the coffee was delicious, we can use kana. But obviously, coffee is a feminine word. قهوة. If you listened to the lesson last week, you'll know that this etun on the end makes it feminine. So we'd say كانت القهوة لذيذة. It needs to be لذيذة. The ladhi, the delicious, is the thing that the coffee is being. So that means it's the news. That means it's the the news of the coffee, the thing we learn, the new bit of information that we learn about the coffee. So in the present tense, القهوة لذيذة, but in the past tense, كانت القهوة لذيذة. Nice. Okay, so kana has that application, right? Putting something in the past. It can actually be used in its present tense. The present tense of kana is yakunu, but you wouldn't use it in these normal kind of positive statements. The positive statement like I am a teacher. There's no need for me to say akunu mudarrisan. I've never in my life heard anyone use that in Arabic, and I don't think it's even correct to. But when you use the negative, you do need to use it in the present tense. So you can say ما يكون, like it is not. ما يكون, it is not. But so sometimes you use the verb laysa, like laysa is a sister of kana, and we'll perhaps do a separate lesson on that. We don't really need it now, but the verb laysa essentially means to not be something. But you can create the same meaning of laysa with ma kana. Yeah, I know there are many times in the Quran when Allah says ma kana with lots of things, right? So and you can say la yakunu, that it is not. La yakunu in the present tense. But as I say, you wouldn't need to say that if you weren't saying the la, if you weren't saying the negative. It can be used in the future. Sayakunu. Sayakunu just means it will be. Sayakunu. And then obviously in the imperative, kun fayakun. Kun just means to be. There's a couple of times I believe in the Quran when Allah says, so he said be and it was. قَالَ كُن فَيَكُونَ. Yeah, he said be, so it is. Yeah, kun fayakun. He says be, so it is. Good, so the verb kana itself can be used in all of those different applications, but and it is, it is the best sort of verb that we have available to mean to be, but it's just that when we declare things positively in the present tense, we don't use that. We use these what we call nominative sentences or noun sentences, and that's it. That's a very, very brief kind of little run through of talking about saying to be and a little bit about to not be in the Arabic language as well. We'll round off there. Inshallah. Nice little quick episode for us. It's much quicker than the other episodes have been so far, but that's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. So if you have any other questions about that, other things you'd like me to clear up in later podcasts, inshallah, or in later lessons, or if you are interested in the program that I told you about, the Arabic in 60 Steps program, then just go over to the website, arabicwithsam.com, which is live, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, and I'm pumped about. And that's it. As always, all the opportunities are available to get in touch with me. Instagram, Facebook, email, whatever. All of them are Arabic with Sam. And I look forward to you guys listening in to the next episode, inshallah. So I'll catch you guys then, and I hope you have a very, very nice week until I see you the next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.